Oh yeah, just go ahead and launch. Then I'll say my quick piece.
Yeah, it's all right. We're launched. You can say all your pieces.
I love Batman. I thought it was phenomenal. I was super surprised. I was sitting there and I was like, oh my god, holy shit. I was like, oh my god, like holy fuck, I love this movie. Like I almost couldn't believe it. Like I was actually going in there legitimately like I probably with the expectation that I was going to be disappointed, and then my expectations were shattered, and I'm so happy. But I'm not sure what your general impression was. So like just first general impression, was it like mine, like oh my god, I'm so happy, this is amazing, or was it like
It was weird for me because like
mm,
when the movie ended, like I liked it,
mm,
but I also didn't really like know what to feel. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Does that make sense?
It kind of does, because there are a lot of mixed messages in the movie. Specifically about like what is justice and what is vengeance, and one of those two coincide, and they never really figure that one out. But yeah, could you go a little bit deeper into that? Like, what specifically? Like, were you looking for a feeling and you just couldn't find one, or like?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's like the sensationalism of modern day like comic book movies that have led me to think that there's always going to be something huge, right? Or
Mm,
like some major event or like appearance or something that's going to take something to another level or whatever. I don't know what it
mm,
is exactly, but like when I left the movie, like when it ended, I was like, yeah, it's a really good movie, and I like a lot of what they did, especially thematically.
yes, yeah.
Um, but at the same time, it's like it didn't make me like angry or happy or um, upset or emotional in any way
Mm.
whatsoever. So it's like weird, and maybe that's like more commentary on me because I just don't really like I don't let myself get excited for things or let myself
Yeah,
like you
get
know
overly emotional.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
I won't say not emotional because I do cry at random things for no reason.
Oh, Pixar
Um,
movies. I think me and you do that a lot.
yeah. So it's not like I'm void of emo. I mean, the only real emotional scene like in the movie to me was like when Alfred's in the hospital talking to Bruce.
Mm.
Other than that, by the way, spoiler warning,
Oh
BGs.
yes,
Uh,
lots of spoilers. We're probably that's all we're gonna be doing for the next hour is probably talking spoilers. May want to put that in the title.
sure, I can do that. Edit title. Exclamation point. Spoilers, bitches.
Oh.
Okay, done. But yeah, no, I felt like it was a really good movie, and like I said, like thematically is like the themes of the movie are what really stuck with me, especially like the opening kind of monologue.
Yeah.
First I'll go over what I've said in the past about voiceover. For people who don't know, I hate voiceover
Mm.
as a device in film and television because I think it's in most cases it's like it signifies a lack of confidence in your ability to show people things instead of
Yeah.
telling them things. Which, when you're in a visual medium, your whole purpose should be to show things.
Yeah.
Um, so typically, I think voiceovers just a sign that you don't have confidence in your ability to show what it is you're trying to show. I don't think that's the case necessarily in this, and I like the way they actually worked it into like you know
Well, what they showed you too, there was this amazing scene in the very beginning. The scenes in the beginning of the movie, you saw it too. So when they had the bat symbol up, and then
yeah
the criminals looked into like a shadowed corner, and then they just got fucking terrified. I was like, oh my
yeah
god,
that's
that's
that
amazing.
yeah that's what I'm talking about. He's like doing this voiceover like throughout the whole thing, which like the point is like
Mm.
he's he's writing down like this memoir, and this what the voiceover is doing is like kind of reading what he wrote. He's like
Yeah.
reading it out loud, right? And you know this is like the established this is like where they establish essentially the whole theme of the entire movie, right? Which is who is the Batman and what does he stand for, and is it good or is it bad, or is it helpful or is it not? And
also, what does he mean to Gotham? Like, what does he represent to the general citizenry of Gotham? That's something that they, again, did at the very beginning of the movie, when there was one citizen that was also just batshit terrified of Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I felt like there's something deeper in that as well. Like, the kid obviously didn't want to, like, fight or, like, hurt the other guy, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was like there's so many interesting little things even in just that scene, right? He beats the shit out of these Joker looking dudes, right? These clown mask guys or clown makeup guys, and you have this one kid who just like obviously is kind of ashamed of what they've been doing, like assaulting people
for no reason, basically, yeah, or for like the gram or something,
right? And like as soon as they see this Asian guy get off the bus, you can, as much as you want to apply this to the real world and say, hey, this was happening a lot, especially like in big cities last year because of COVID and stuff, where people of Asian descent are being attacked just for being Asian. I mean, I don't think that's where they were going, but you can definitely apply it to that, right? Like, yep. And so it's like very clear this kid wasn't really comfortable with it. He didn't want to do it, but he's like trying to impress the gang, and ultimately Batman shows up and saves him from having to do something he didn't feel was morally right anyway. But it's just like, it's one of those things where like you see him, on vengeance, and he beats the shit out of all these dudes, but he doesn't hit the kid who did nothing. He lets everyone go, right?
Yeah. Which
is like an interesting thing to start with. And like you think about a lot of superhero vigilante kind of stories, like Spider-Man, which he's not necessarily a vigilante, but you think about Spider-Man, you think about Daredevil, you think about all these other kind of vigilante characters, and they don't necessarily let the criminals go. They like tie them up for the police to find or whatever else. So it's really interesting. Like initially, like because like the first thing I thought was, oh, he just let him go,
Yep.
And then the other interesting thing is the guy who was assaulted looks up at Batman and says, please don't hurt me.
Yes. Yep.
And it's like that's your first kind of insight into, despite the fact that he's going after essentially criminals, everyone's afraid of him.
Yeah.
Right? And that's his whole point. Like when the bat signal goes in the sky, it's not just like a call for Batman to come meet with Gordon, right? It's a warning to everybody else that Batman is out tonight, right?
Yeah.
And it immediately strikes fear into criminals to dissuade some of them, because like he says, he can't be everywhere at once, right? He has to choose who he goes after.
I gotta orgasm about the scene again, dude. The scene where the criminals look at the bat symbol and then they just look into a shadowed corner. It was such a great way to open this fucking movie.
And it builds up so well, because the first criminal who robs the store, you expect, like us as an audience, we all expect to see Batman slowly walk out of those shadows.
Yes.
But we don't see it. And then you go to the second scene, which was the spray painters. Yeah. Which it said broke, but I think it meant to say broken because it's like a broken system, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like it looked like the steps of like the.
It was Gotham. Building. It was Gotham Bank. I remember seeing they ran past the sign.
Okay, then it should be broke.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, and you see the shadows there, and then you're like, well, is he going to come out of there, right? Classic 3D, right?
He drops the spray can and runs away.
Yeah, and the spray can rolls into the shadows, right? And you expect to see like a boot step on it or something, right? It's just a very well put together movie, and like I said, like the themes in the movie really do stick out.
To the actors, Robert Pattinson, dude, he was phenomenal. Like I know, like he didn't really have like kind of a Batman voice, and I understand that you are more of a fan of like the Playboy type Bruce Wayne, or I could be completely wrong.
That's the thing. That's the whole dichotomy of this whole situation is so odd, because Robert Pattinson in his real life is a very good looking dude who could be an amazing Bruce Wayne. But his Bruce Wayne in this movie is like a recluse. He's kind of in hiding. He's secluded. He doesn't want to meet with people. He doesn't give a shit about Wayne Enterprises.
And if I can just comment on that real quick, as someone who didn't read the and I'm sure like your opinion is also valid. As someone who did read the comics, potentially more valid than mine. But just to say, like, for me, it's always just been like, God, this guy's running around all night, beating people up with his fucking fist, and then he just runs around the day like, yeah, I'm not tired, I'm not exhausted, I'm a playboy. I'm gonna run around doing playboy things.
Well, I think that's where the strength of this movie comes in as well, because some people might say, well, they didn't do Bruce Wayne much justice, right, or something like that. But ultimately, like, this is one of the first Batman movies that feels like it's about Batman.
Yeah.
Right. It's not about coming to terms with who you are, between yourself during the day and yourself at night. Like, there are plenty of stories that have been told of that, and there are plenty more that could be told from that. But this is a story, like, it's also, credit to Matt Reeves for not doing another origin story. We don't need all that.
Yeah, we don't need to watch the crying kid in the alley watching his parents.
We don't need to see the same death scene over and over with the pearls getting ripped.
No more falling pearls. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah. And like again, it's what we get of Bruce Wayne isn't amazing. It's fine. It's just, it is what it is, right? Like, I'm not like watching that thinking, wow, I love Bruce Wayne, he's so cool. Like, it's just whatever. But like, when you watch Batman, you're like, wow, he is cool, and he's doing cool things, and like,
and just to re-steer it to not just Batman, the guy who plays Jim Gordon, fucking phenomenal, amazing. He had such amazing chemistry with Robert Pattinson as Batman. I need to look up this guy's name because
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. He was phenomenal. He's probably honest.
Colin Farrell as the Penguin, amazing.
Yeah, he's getting his own show now, and
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, and everyone was talking about Colin Farrell, but also the guy who played the first mob boss.
The guy who played Falcone, or
Falcone. Like, it was just he was phenomenal. He was a scary, intimidating man. I didn't want to be alone in a room with him. It's everything about this movie, everything.
Yeah, and like, you were saying, people who read the comics or whatever, and the thing is, like, you would think, like, here's the weirdest thing, right? Like, people who are huge fans of Zack Snyder and what he's done with his DC films, they love to talk about how comic book accurate some of the scenes are, like the death scene, like, because the pearl's getting ripped. Everybody does that. Like, it's not like whatever. And like, if you look at Batman vs Superman, everybody's like, oh, it's so much like The Dark Knight from the 80s, Frank Miller, woohoo, we all love that. This movie, it's only in theaters. Yes, it's only in theaters, Atolia. Only in theaters right now.
45 days until it comes out. I think that's what they said. It's going to be 45 days.
This movie is, no joke, very, very, very strict. Like, it's if you watch this movie and then you read Batman Year One and The Long Halloween, you're gonna say, wow, I understand exactly where they got this movie from.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for comic book accurate Batman, I mean, it's not that far from it. Like, that's the whole thing. You take a character and a story and you do your own thing with it that's interesting, while also sticking true or bringing in story or plot points or themes from the comics, and that's what gets your hardcore fans invested, while also bringing in all these new people who just want a cool Batman movie, right? Yep.
And also just a beautiful movie. Just everything about it.
And the music.
The music was phenomenal. The great choices. Like, this is why I had a serious issue with the first Suicide Squad movie. They just kind of like jammed in these albums that felt so forced. But to like in this movie, when the music kicked in, the scenes, that Nirvana song that everybody keeps talking about now, like, it's just perfect. It's the perfect time to use that exact song, and that's very difficult.
And they use it twice.
Yeah.
In the movie, but Giacchino, what's his first name? Michael Giacchino. He's the composer for the movie. And the Batman theme, like, will stick with you. That's like, it's a great theme that he composed. He also did the music for Spider-Man No Way Home recently. He's done a bunch of Disney movies. Like, he's a very, very talented composer. So if you aren't familiar with Michael Giacchino, check out some of his work. He's really good.
Yep.
So.
And also, like, the effects too. I really love the Batmobile in this one too. Like, it looked really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I like how they were foreshadowing it too before they actually had it on scene, and how they introduced it with like Penguin looking over his shoulder when you just saw like the reflection of the jet like in his face. He's like, "Oh shit, that car chase scene! Oh my god, it was so good." Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and they do manage to like also do a very good job of setting it apart from Nolan's Batman movies, where Batman in those movies is more militaristic. Like even the Batmobile and everything is like more militaristic, whereas this is more actually just grounded, right? It's like he has an old bike, he has an old car, like, and he turned them. I mean, we even saw like his new bike at the end of the movie, the Bat bike. The only question I have is how the hell did he get it on the ledge, like past Catwoman, like when she didn't know he was there on the balcony? Doesn't make much sense, but you know, it's still cool, right?
The movie was so good they're allowed one plot hole. Every movie's got them.
The other thing, like, you can question within the logic of the film is the function of the bat signal. Like, when does Jim know when to light it, or does he light it every night? And because it seems like every time it gets lit, right? They both Batman shows up to the location and talks to Gordon, right? And so like, is it lit just when he has something to talk to him about, or is it lit because there's a lot of crime that night? Like, what tells Jim it's time to light the bat signal, or does he even need to light it to call Batman? It's just a signal to the city that Batman is out.
Yep.
Right. And the movie doesn't really answer those questions, so it's good that it leaves that for the viewer to kind of interpret.
And figure out. There was two scenes like they would show up. Then they both show up because it got lit. I was like, I thought you lit it. I was like, I thought you lit it. What the fuck? And then they took out their guns.
Something I saw people were not so happy about was making Catwoman the daughter of Falcone. I don't think there's any issue with it. I think people just like to get upset about things that don't really make a difference.
It made that relationship and their interactions all the more intense.
This is the thing, right?
He's almost sexualizing his own daughter, basically. That was happening in the first half of the movie.
Yeah, people do this thing with Batman that never makes a lot of sense to me, and that, you know, people love to say the Joker is the best villain for Batman, and I've heard people even say like, this movie should have been the Joker and not the Riddler or whatever. Like, first of all, the Riddler was a very good villain.
He was.
And this is something I've always said that a lot of people disagree with me. So if you think this is a hot take, you can tell me. It's okay. The Riddler and the Joker are almost no different.
Yeah.
Almost no different. If you put the Joker in the place of the Riddler in this movie and keep the story and all the beats exactly the same, and maybe just take out the riddles, but like leave other kind of letters,
what basically
it's the same exact movie.
At the end at the movie, when they're all in like the Madison Square Garden, those guys would have been showing up with clown masks instead of like, you know, painted like instead of like the wrap and the glasses. Yeah. He was just a straight psychopath.
I think it is good also to highlight some of Batman's other villains in his rogues gallery instead of always just coming back to the Joker. Like, I get it. The Joker is the most popular.
No problem. Get those nacho fries coming back up for you.
No, I haven't eaten yet.
Oh, dude, I'm about to go to Taco Bell after this.
Me too.
Yeah.
But like a lot, the thing that Matt Reeves did well in this movie, and that other people should do with Batman villains, is instead of like trying to make your story fit the villain, you change your villain to serve the story. Yeah. Right? That's like the perfect way to do anything. I would rather Riddler or Penguin. Well, we got both of those. Okay.
There you go.
I mean, the Penguin wasn't the main villain, obviously, of the movie, but he will be of the next one probably.
He's getting his own show now, right, on HBO.
He is, yeah. Which props to him, because, I mean,
that's how you saw a role, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He did a very good job.
He did, and to like. This whole movie, it's just everything about it.
It's also one of the first Batman movies where we actually get to see Batman do what he's supposed to do and be a detective.
Yep.
Um,
Very investigative in working with Alfred, which is something that happened a lot in Justice League and the Batman animated series, where Alfred would be like, "Well, have you thought of this, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't. Thank you, Alfred." And
yeah.
you realize they're more of a team than an actual Batman.
Right. And so people might think it's weird to see Batman working so closely with the police. Like I've seen people say like, "Oh, it's just weird." It's like, but yeah, did you watch the movie? Because the police also thought it was pretty fucking weird.
Weird. Had a serious issue. Yeah, had serious issue with it.
Like Gordon brought him in as like a private, consult detective. Tolia hasn't seen it yet. Well,
You
I don't
should
care.
tap out of this freaking talking about spoilers.
I don't think she minds, but
Oh, good.
yeah, spoilers and all that. But yeah, the Penguin is in the movie, but he's not like the main villain. But when we do see him, he's phenomenal.
Yep.
And same with well, not the same. The Riddler is the main villain, and he's also very good, I think. We get that Arkham, conversation with some random guy that we can only assume is the Joker.
Yep. I heard a lot of people hated that scene, and I don't know. I think it was kind of useless, but we'll just see what happens. Hopefully, with the success of this movie, we'll see more good DC films like this one.
It's kind of meaningless because Matt Reeves has already said like the next movie isn't gonna be the Joker. If there is a next one, which they're setting up for it, right? Yeah. The only thing, like, it is a long movie. I don't mind spoilers. It's making me more hyped to see it. Yeah, definitely see it. It's a 3-hour long movie. Part of that feels like because they didn't really know how to end it.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's kind of extended at the end, but almost like necessarily extended because.
Well, I think they wanted to flesh out Catwoman and Batman's relationship a little bit more, and
I think they just wanted to flesh out Batman, having this kind of catharsis moment. Coming to terms with, right, because we start the movie like we said, he's beating up the clown people, and he's he said, who are you supposed to be? He says, I'm vengeance, right? And then at the end, right, he's beating up the Riddler's Proud Boys or whatnot. And he injects himself with some adrenaline that everybody's like, it's venom, it's pain. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's probably just adrenaline, to be honest. And he beats the shit out of this dude, and like they're like, he's like, I'm vengeance, and that's like a real cathartic moment, I think, for Batman, where he's like, am I really making a difference for the better? Like, and he even goes over like statistics, like, everything's up, everything.
And then he does an amazingly heroic thing where he's like, I gotta save people. That was the whole point of doing this in the fucking first place. And then he just sacrifices himself, basically. He literally he uses himself as a ground for a live wire.
Right. And obviously, like, he sees a bit of himself in the mayor's kid, the mayor who got killed. Yeah, that's not really a spoiler. It's the very beginning of the movie.
Everyone's saying he's Robin, I guess. I don't know.
What? No, he's not.
Hell of people are online saying that. They're saying, "Oh, it's such a clear setup for Robin." I'm like, I didn't get that. I thought
the clown kid was more of a setup for Robin than this. Like, what? No, he just it's very, I don't know. I guess people don't think about these things thematically. They think about them comic bookly, right? Yeah. Where it's like, oh, everything is a setup for a comic book thing.
Everything's an origin story. That's the thing.
This is a theme, right? This kid now doesn't have a father. Bruce can relate to not having a father. And later in the movie, when Bruce finds out that his father wasn't perfect, now he can relate even more to this guy who very clearly is not perfect, right? Like, it's a very, very clear like theme where Bruce sees his childhood self that has never properly actually healed from his trauma in this kid. And at the end, when he decides, I need to save people and show them that I'm actually a hero, and this is what I wanted to do the whole time, is save people, and he reaches out his hand, and the mayor, who just got shot but is surprisingly able to stand on her feet perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Like I said, there are a lot of few plot holes.
Is staring at him with his hand outstretched, and the first person to take it is the kid.
Yep.
Right? That's a theme. That's not a comic book reference.
Yeah.
It's not setting up for this kid to be Robin. Like, he. By the way, most Robins are orphans. This kid still has a mom. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if people want to believe that, but I don't know.
Also, a lot of people were like getting their dicks were super hard because Selena said she was going, or Catwoman said she was going to Bloodhaven. I guess
Yeah,
like
that's where Nightwing is. Okay,
that's
cool.
a pretty big name drop. Yeah.
But it's not really
There's
a
been no
name drop
Robin.
because it's year 2.
Yeah.
This is Batman's second year. There's been no Dick Grayson yet. There's no Nightwing. Like,
that's what I thought too. That was my first thought.
It doesn't matter that she's going to Bloodhaven. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Wow, she mentioned a city that exists in a comic, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, our movie takes place in Gotham. Oh, holy shit, Gotham!
You can talk about Central City or whatever it is.
So, yeah, let's talk about Central City and Emerald City and bloody fucking every fucking city in
every DC rename of every American city because they don't want to take it in the US.
I did like a lot of the imagery too in this movie. Like,
yes.
It's
very good cinematography, top notch. Like, Gotham looked amazing. It looked like people keep saying this, and I don't know how to describe it better, but it looked like Gotham and felt like Gotham.
Yeah,
you know,
because Gotham to me has always felt like it. Every visual representation of Gotham has always kind of felt like it's supposed to be New York.
Yeah,
but this feels more like it's supposed to be a combination of New York and Chicago.
Yeah,
which makes a lot more sense for Gotham, right? Like, if you're thinking of like big cities that were controlled by crime bosses, those are the two ones, all right? Like, you think about like Al Capone and people like that. That's Chicago, you know, and they have that very classic like Chicago accent and things like that. Like that, there's more of that. Like, Falcone felt very Chicago to me.
Yeah.
So.
It's just. Like you said, it was a good melding because you're right. In The Dark Knight, especially, I always felt this, like, they have like the 7 bridges that come in. Oh, that's New York. Like, there's no The Dark Knight. It was New York City. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or whatever. But I just like how, I don't know. For me, Gotham has always just felt like a little bit more dirty. Like it's like just a very grungy city, and they get that very well here. Like when they go to the Iceberg Club, like it's this fucking like dirty ass alley that has like garbage and rats everywhere.
Yeah. I also felt like what was I saying? Shit.
Find it. Find it. It's in there.
Was it about Falcone?
Was it?
I was gonna say something. I don't remember what it was though.
Oh, good. Probably wasn't important then.
Maybe. No. It's just like everything they did with this movie felt
like they love Batman.
Yeah,
that's what I felt. I felt like they love Batman. They love more importantly than that. They don't just love comic book Batman. Like, they love the idea of Batman, and that was very much apparent in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, Batman... that's what I was gonna say. Right. Like, it's you can look at all the other Batman movies and like what the villains do, right? And arguably, like, The Dark Knight is still one of the best comic book movies of all time, and a lot of that is because it's more of a Joker movie than a Batman movie, and Heath Ledger just does a really good job being the Joker. And
yeah, he literally destroyed himself for that role.
Yeah, and like his plan, like everything he did was to go after Batman, like to get at him, right? Whereas in this movie is like the Riddler is so deluded and delusional that he actually believes that he's working with Batman.
Yes.
To take down like corrupt people in the city, and ultimately like he carries out like an actual terror attack with actual consequences.
Kills lots and hundreds of thousands of people probably died. Like, it was bad.
And not only that, I mean, like, now you're stuck in a place where you have to rebuild Gotham, and it creates this power vacuum, and it, again, creates the perfect situation for a sequel.
Yep.
Right? And apparently spin-offs as well with Penguin, right? Like, maybe the Penguin series will take the place of what you would in a traditional movie world would think would be a sequel, right? Where Penguin becomes, essentially the new Falcone. But I don't think that's necessarily gonna happen in a sequel. Like, maybe they'll bring in other villains. Everyone's thinking Bane because he totally injected venom, not adrenaline. But I mean, even
yeah.
this is the whole thing. I mean, Riddler's in Arkham. He can
Mm.
easily come back, right? Like,
Oh man, that fucking asylum, dude. That's the one thing for me that always disconnects from Batman. Like, God, why do you keep sending these people to this fucking asylum?
well, I think it's gonna be transformative in a way that like, right? It's gonna make the Riddler more like the Joker. Like
Hmm.
instead of like I'm gonna carry out all these things and catch corrupt people and leave little riddles for my best friend Batman, and we're gonna do this together. Well, now he has an enemy in Batman
Yep.
because he's seen Batman doesn't actually want to work with him and has been trying to take him down the whole time. And now, if he gets out, his vendetta will be against Batman, right?
Yep.
The other thing I thought was weird was like how they made it seem like he knew his identity, and even like in that scene where he's saying Bruce Wayne, like
I think that was intentional. I see a lot of people like talking about that, but for me, is it's he intended for Batman to find the letter because it was wrapped in fireproof material.
yeah.
After he blew up Bruce Wayne, so that's to me like I think he didn't know Batman was Bruce Wayne, or maybe he had a little bit of a hunch. I'm not 100% sure, but I do see a lot of people like
I don't think
talking
he
about
actually
that.
knew it was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, but because of the way he like says it and is like looking at him, it feels like he's calling him out for being Bruce Wayne. But then he's
Mm,
like, oh, he's the one we didn't get, you know.
mm,
But it's like,
mm,
I don't know. That one felt weird. The other odd, like there were a couple moments in the movie that did feel a bit campy,
mm.
and, like especially like the Batman Catwoman kiss, and then you have the don't no. I'm Thomas Wayne and I approve of this message. It's just like, oh,
uh,
all right.
in response to campiness, I only have one thing to say. Uh, thumb drive.
Yeah. Yep.
That was hilarious. I thought that was a great little gag, but I don't know. That
Yeah,
could be
and
me
and
fucked up
then
me.
and then Gordon
Gordon's
says
like
this guy's
Jesus.
hilarious.
He just goes Jesus. Everyone complains that he says that too much, but he delivers it so perfectly each time. Like, so I don't know why everyone's bitching about it.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
This movie was rated PG-13 for all the people who get mad about things
Mm.
like that, and it didn't need to be rated R to be good at all.
Mm-hmm.
There was one F word in the whole movie, and on my second watch of the movie, I noticed it. It was at the beginning,
Mm.
but said
Well, I
by
think
the current commissioner.
doesn't the penguin go like "I got you, you motherfucker" when he like blows up the fucking highway train?
No, I think he says "son of a bitch" or something,
uh, what a
or a
great
piece of
scene.
shit, or no, he says "I got you, you psycho." I think that's what he says.
And then he just jumps out of the fucking launches him up like God.
Yeah,
I
and
love
then
that
and then
chase
just
scene.
the way the film score builds there, like, is also just like, I, this movie came together very well. Like I said at the end, I
Yes.
wasn't sure how I really felt.
Mm.
So maybe people could say it's like soulless or something. I don't feel like it's actually soulless. I just feel like
I feel like it had a really complicated story to tell, and it did it the best way it could.
I just
That
needed time to think. I
yeah,
just
because
needed
I am gonna
time
go
to.
see it. I am gonna go see it again probably on Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw it
Um,
twice.
yeah, because it was
So.
very very good. And also, unfortunately, I missed the first 5 minutes. But I arrived just in time to see like the scenes where like the bats only look to the shadows, so it doesn't matter. Because it was
Oh.
super late because
Oh.
I forgot. I thought it was 4. I thought the movie started at 4:50 and it actually started at 4:40.
Oh.
But I was a little bit early, so we're good to go. We were good to go. And they deliver popcorn and a drink to your seat now at Tracy, but like they bring them in like individual giant ass plastic bags. I'm like, what
Oh.
the fuck? Thank you.
Interesting. There,
Yeah,
there are lots of places in Sacramento that do that, like the like studio movie grill and stuff. Like you can like get them to bring like beer and alcohol and shit to your.
all your favorites.
Yeah. I when I went to the movie, I had popcorn and
I had popcorn and
Mountain
a
Dew.
soda. It was the first time I'd had popcorn in a long time. This
It's
is the
good,
first
huh?
time yeah, it's the first time I sat down and watched a movie in a long time, and I was so fucking happy.
Yeah, yeah. And it was a
I was
good
so happy.
movie.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was happy. It was a legitimately amazing movie to me personally. Like this is like an 8 or a 9, honestly, in my book. It was just the chemistry between the actors was that's the main thing. Is like all these actors they could bounce off each other. Like
Yeah.
when Gordon and Batman had a freaking Penguin cornered, and they were like interrogating him. They were literally bouncing off each other. Penguin was like, "Well, you two make a good fucking duet, don't you?" It was just
Yeah.
amazing. Then they leave him there all tied up, and he's waddling around like a penguin.
Yeah, it all works really well. And like I said, like it's a 3 hour movie, but it doesn't feel like it's a 3 hour long movie unless you really have to pee at the beginning of the movie. Then it feels long.
Yeah.
But
that movie rushed by for me. I was like, wow, really?
because it keeps you invested, right?
Yep.
Like there's always something new, something happening, and like it manages to just capture everything you'd want it to capture about Batman. And do it well, right? Without wasting time, building the Batcave and getting all his gadgets and designing his suit and all. Like that stuff is interesting, but to a point, So like, I'm glad we got a year 2 Batman, not a brand spanking new. I'm gonna avenge my parents and change the world kind of Batman. Like he's already 2 years in. Like he kind of knows what to expect, and yeah. Pretty cool.
It's just a good movie. So I'm just glad it exists. I'm glad I got to go see it.
Yeah.
What else?
I think the movie has triggered something at WB. I mean, we all know WB and how dysfunctional they are with everything they do. Yep. Don't give those bastards any credit for this, aside from hiring Matt Reeves and going with his vision instead of making the Batman movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I mean, they should get credit for that, but like, it's a dysfunctional company. All credit goes to Matt Reeves for making this movie, having this vision, and doing the job he did. As well as all the actors within it. Everybody did a phenomenal job.
All the side characters too, like those twins. They keep getting beat up, and it's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, WB has it's so funny because they started this campaign, right? Even at the beginning of the movie, you see. Aquaman, The Flash, Black Adam, Batman, all coming in 2022. Well, guess what? Only one of those is coming in 2022, and it's the Batman. Everything else got pushed back. Shazam is being moved forward, actually, to the end of this year. Shazam was supposed to come out next year. It's being moved to the end of this year. Aquaman is being pushed to March, I believe, next year, and The Flash to July, I think, or June of next year. And the Flash is a movie that was supposed to come out 6 years ago. This is a movie that's had like 35 different directors and a bunch of different other people involved and screenwriters, and none of them actually like stuck with it. I mean, Ezra Miller, it's amazing that he's still attached to the project. I have no fucking clue what's going on with that movie, but what I'm thinking is they're pushing these movies back to do some rewrites because of how successful the Batman is. Right now,
how much people love it to success and love. Like people are online. That's all they get on like the subreddits and everything like that. They love talking about it. The conversations are very lively. And that's great. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
because like we've talked about in the past. I grew up with the DC heroes and Justice League Unlimited, Batman animated, Superman animated. Like those are my superheroes. Like Marvel just kind of snuck in there with Iron Man 1, arguably they made an amazing movie. And then they just kept the ball rolling through high extreme organization. They had a clear goal in mind, and they just chased after it. And that was great. But also, like, I really want to see DC rise. I want to see good DC films, like just take over and be amazing.
Yeah.
And I would be lying if I said I would prefer that over Marvel movies. I mean, if I don't prefer that over Marvel movies, because I would much prefer more DC movies than more Marvel movies.
I think a lot of people do though. Like. I think in general, like, if you talk to most people in a comic book store and ask them if they prefer Marvel or DC, most of them will say DC. Like, it's very rare to find people who love Marvel comics more than they love DC comics. Unless, like, they grew up in the 80s and grew up on X-Men or something when, like, everything out was X-Men. But everyone, I've talked to a lot of people. I've been to a lot of comic book stores, and it's usually DC. Everybody loves DC, and you can't blame them because even though you have like these insanely powerful like aliens and metahumans and stuff in DC, they still tell human stories at the end of the day, and that's what people connect with, right? Like,
and even more so because it does have an element of fantasy. They don't take place in New York. It doesn't take place in. You're never going to see like the CNN breaking newscast, like switching over with some, like for some stupid Marvel cameo. It's gonna be like Gotham News, which I thought was great. I thought those two casters were amazing.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought those
in
were
the
great.
old Batman movies and like even the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, they do use like CNN and stuff. But
They did in the Joker. I can't remember that.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I remember they did for sure in like the Batman movies, the Christopher Nolan ones.
Yeah.
Like they use like Fox News and CNN and like even had people like actual anchors from those networks on like film for the movie.
So stupid. Such a horrible idea.
Well, and that's the whole point. They wanted it to be grounded, right? Like that Nolan wanted to make very grounded Batman movies, and Matt Reeves still managed to make a more grounded Batman movie.
Yeah.
So,
what else can we orgasm about this movie?
I mean, just the fact that it exists, right? Like that.
Yep.
This is the whole thing. Like this movie came about because Warner Brothers was going to make Ben Affleck's Batman movie. And they were looking for a director, and Matt Reeves got a call, and he came in and he read the script and he said, "This is a very good script. I think it's very good, and if this is the direction you want to go, I'm happy for you. But I don't want to make this movie. This isn't the movie I want to make." And they said, "Well, what movie do you want to make?" And so he pitched them on his Batman movie, the one that we saw.
Yep.
And because he said like I don't want him to be involved with the Justice League. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want a movie about Batman, right? And he said if the opportunity ever comes, I would love to make this movie with you guys. But if you want to go with Ben Affleck's, like I think that one's very good as well. It's just not what I'm interested in making. Which this news all got distorted, and everybody said like he rejected Ben Affleck and hated Ben Affleck and blah blah blah, which he never said. And Warner Brothers said, well, we like your vision, we'll go with that. So that's the only props I give to Warner Brothers is making that decision. Other than that, they're still dysfunctional. I don't like them, but
hopefully this will be they're turning a new leaf. That's all I can hope for.
And yeah, new leaf, same branch, same tree.
Yeah.
I mean,
better season though. Hopefully, more fruitful season.
Same roots, same plot of land, same city, but new leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I do think Robert Pattinson had a fine voice. I don't think he had a bad voice for Batman. The only thing I felt was weird is like the way like when he talked, it seemed like he was trying to extend his jaw out and be like, "Yeah, this city is rotten." I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit of Judge Dredd.
Yeah, but it also felt like he was kind of like homaging Christian Bale's Batman in a way too, because that's how Christian Bale's Batman was always like, "Hey, this is Gotham."
I always this is the problem with the one issue I had with the Dark Knight movies is that I always thought his Batman voice was the stupidest fucking thing. Like,
yeah, you've seen like
the trigger? Where is it?
You saw like the college humor ones with Batman.
Yes.
And it's like Batman finds voice.
Yeah.
Where are the drugs going? ¿Dónde están las drogas? Yeah. And he's like, where are the drugs going?
Yeah, I'm sure Christian Bale needed to drink a nice warm cup of water after every cut.
Hey, maybe he just learned the secret of, screaming, which is, scream and don't hurt your voice.
Yep.
It's hard to do though.
Can't get over that last Batman movie where he just like tackles Bane to the ground. He's like, where is the trigger? Where is it? He sounds like fucking Rocky.
Dude, I hated The Dark Knight Rises. Your stance isn't exactly the worst stance on that movie. Yeah, but a lot of people love it. Like I saw it was like rated like third best Batman movie of all time.
Yeah, that's not
or second or something. Like better than Batman Begins. What?
Yeah. Is that like one of the older ones?
Batman Begins was the first of the Nolan trilogy, right?
Yeah. Oh.
And then it was The Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Returns. But like,
I thought it was The Dark Knight Rises was the first one.
Oh yeah, no. It's Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. No. Dark Knight Rises is the last one.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And the worst one, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, you're right. It's Batman Begins, 2005. Oh man, I saw that movie in theaters too.
Also a very long movie.
Yes, also very good.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it for the first time. Well, like I didn't even watch it before I watched The Dark Knight. Like I remember I saw The Dark Knight in theaters. It crazy occasion. I don't even know how this came to be, but pretty much right. I was like, when did that movie come out? 2007?
Yeah, something like that.
Something? 2008. It was 2008. I remember. 2008. My parents had been divorced for 2 years, and I hadn't seen my dad for a long time. And he was in California for I don't know what reason. And like we went to an IMAX movie theater in fucking Dublin, California, and watched it. And I was like, I don't know what spurned that, but yeah. And I had animosity, you know, so I didn't really care that much about the movie at the time, you know. I did get excited though because they showed the trailer for Watchmen during that. Yeah, I saw Dark Knight in IMAX. Yeah, I know, I said that, but no, I didn't see the Batman Begins in movies. In movie theaters.
Batman Begins. I saw that when I was young, and the Scarecrow fucking terrified me, dude. The effects for to this day, for like when he hits him with the gas and then puts his mask on, is still fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I watched Batman Begins like fully for the first time when I went to college. I was sitting alone in my dorm room, crying, and then because and it was like hot and there's no air conditioning and it was humid as shit, and I just watched it in there. When I went to college, I was at the university for 3 weeks, and I watched Batman Begins and Firefly over and over again.
There you go.
And that's about it.
That's a good way to spend your time to get past the social anxiety of being alone.
Yeah, and I was in Wisconsin, and soda was really cheap. I went to the store. I bought 3 12-packs for $5.
Oh my god, that is not healthy. That is so unhealthy.
I got root beer, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew.
You're so lucky you didn't pass any kidney stones.
For $5. I didn't even drink them all though when I was there. But here's the thing: I did drink a lot when I was there, and I got Krispy Kreme while I was there. And because of how stressed out I was, I lost like 12 pounds when I was there for 3 weeks.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. What the fuck?
Well, I mean,
some people.
I didn't eat much, you know. Like I just ate like the donuts, and that's like what I ate all day, right? And then like. Yep. I never ate well because like I didn't have a kitchen because I was in a dorm. I could have used my meal plan, but the food they made was shit and I didn't want to eat it. And I didn't want the meal plan to begin with. So pretty much I ate McDonald's a lot and donuts, and that's it.
That's all you need.
Yep.
So
those were the days. College.
Yeah, those were the days. Showing up to work, basically showing up in slippers. I showed up. I remember there was one college semester where I showed up every day in slippers, and my teacher's like, "I really respect you for sticking with that." Like, oh, thanks. I just don't care, but whatever.
You're supposed to stay with your aunt before seeing Dark Knight, and then you would have seen it beforehand.
This is some family drama. What?
No, she was there. I don't know what you're talking about. You're supposed to stay with your aunt before seeing Dark Knight. No, I saw it. I saw it in IMAX with you. You were there, and Dad and Aldous, and I think that was it. I don't remember. We also saw Up around that same time. I think.
Man, what a fucking traumatizing movie that was.
Yeah, yeah. We saw it in IMAX. I was there. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean I was supposed to stay? I was staying there. We were all staying there. I think. Also,
dude, going back onto the topic at hand though, like I'm just thinking now, like I love the Iceberg Club. Like it was just so well made.
Oh yeah, the Iceberg Lounge, and then what was the other one? 40 Below or something?
Yeah,
like the
44 Below.
Yeah, the club inside the club. The real
club. The Mafia Club. DA was there getting nice, fuck trying to pick up.
Dude, that DA was such a weasel.
Yeah, I know, and he was great. That whoever was playing him was like just played the hugest see-through piece of shit.
Oh, I was supposed to stay for Batman Begins. No, wait, Batman Begins. What month did that come out? Do you know? Let me look.
No, it just said 2005 or something like that. While you're looking that up, dude, the scene where like Batman breaks into the club, so fucking good. And he's like, the elevator opens, it's empty, and the first guy just pulls out his gun instinctively. I'm like, yes, this is a human being dealing with this. And then when he's in the fucking hallway beating up these guys, and like, the muzzle flash is going off, and like that's the only light you can see. Such a phenomenal scene.
Yeah. Batman Begins came out June 15th, 2005. I definitely was not meant to stay with my aunt that day because we arrived in California on June 22nd, 2005. We were in West Virginia on June 15th, 2005. So that is wrong. And I remember because that was the first day of the rest of our lives. I have a very good memory about some things. But yeah, because we came here for a vacation on June 22nd, 2005, and we never went home.
It's a long vacation. You're still here.
Oh, maybe it was re-released before Dark Knight. Maybe that's what she means. I don't know, but I know for sure when it came out, we didn't see it in theaters. So maybe you saw it with her or something. But yeah, I don't remember that. I don't even know how I got there then if I wasn't there. But anyway, family drama. But yeah, no. The Batman was a very good movie. Yep. And like I said, like thematically, it just works very well. And this is like my same kind of opinion about The Last Jedi. I'm not saying that the two movies are comparable. I'm just saying that that the themes within The Last Jedi are like what really stood out about it, like about the movie to me. Like a lot of people can talk about how it's a terrible Star Wars movie or whatever else, but like I think thematically it works really well.
I think it would have been more well received if there had been two movies leading up to support it, and that movie didn't feel like J.J. Abrams just screaming with his foot on the gas pedal, basically trying to wrap two movies in the same. Because I feel like that whole sequence, we're talking about Star Wars again, but that whole sequence, when they were on that planet that was being raided, that could have been its own movie all on its own.
Yeah. Well, because she stayed with, I guess, a few days before, and they watched it on DVD. Okay, whatever. I wasn't there. I probably would have refused to watch it because I was an angsty child.
Good times. Oh man, an angsty child likes Batman. Never would.
I remember one time my dad came out. It was probably like 2009, 2010 or something, and we were at my grandpa's house, and Bill. Yeah, we were there, and my dad came out, and they were gonna watch Serenity, and I was like, Serenity's gonna suck, and I left the room, and I didn't watch it with him. But I like Serenity.
Yeah, I love Serenity.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was angsty. All right, I didn't like my situation. Okay, but yeah, I saw like a thread like on Twitter, like people were like arguing about like the broomstick boy in The Last Jedi right at the end, who like uses the Force to get the broomstick, and everybody's like. Literally everybody I saw was like, "Oh, it's like clearly an homage to like Star Wars fans who grew up playing with toys because they were playing with Star Wars toys and the Legends of Luke Skywalker and like that's us. Like we can see ourselves in him and stuff." And I'm like, "What?" Like I feel like that's if that's your interpretation, okay, But like I felt obligated to respond for the first time ever, and I just said like. Like for me, it was just part of the theme of the movie. Thematically, in the movie, Rey is told she comes from nothing, but that doesn't mean she's not special. Just like these orphans being bossed around, made to clean things, come from nothing. But this kid is Force sensitive, which means he's special. Like you don't have to come from special parents or grandparents or whatever to be special. And if you're looking at mythic themes, Harry Potter, some people are just born special. Inherently, right? So it's okay for Rey. People can call her Mary Sue because she's inherently special, but it's okay for her to be special and come from nothing. Just like it's okay for anybody. Like you can have terrible parents who are addicted to crack cocaine and sold you off as a child and whatever. Like the terrible, terrible people, and you can still be an incredibly great person. You can be a special person who saves lives or does whatever. Like. You don't have to come from fucking the best parents of all time to be a good person and be a special person. Like, so yeah, that's what I got from it, and that's why those themes stick out to me. Just like with the Batman, like some of the themes within the movie, like even like if you have good intentions of trying to make a good difference, it can still go wrong and people can perceive it as bad or whatever, right? Like it doesn't always matter what your intentions are. It matters what you actually do to make the difference. So things like that, like I and just the fact that like Batman uses fear as a tool, right? Which you don't see a lot of in other Batman things. So some of these ideas I thought worked really well.
Yes. And also, the cinematography was top notch. Everything in the choreography was amazing. Every set looked amazing. Again, Gotham looked and felt like a dirty, cringy, grayscale, dark, evil, no good, very bad place to live. It felt like Gotham City. I don't know how else to describe it. I know that's kind of like a trope saying, "Oh, it feels like this," but like to me, it's like, "Oh man, it's so more like Gotham City than any other Batman movie I've ever watched."
Yeah, I mean, the best way to say that, right, is like it felt authentic to you.
Yes, felt very like an authentic representation of Gotham, and to me, it just comes down to this: it's just everybody involved. I think they loved the idea of Batman, and I think that they are willing to give their all for that. And God, I just hope we get more good shit. And I hope the Penguin is amazing, and I hope this is the start of something beautiful in the DC universe.
Yeah.
I really do.
I feel like they took risks as well, and they paid off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there's nothing else really to say other than
because Batman technically lost in this film a bit, I think, honestly, because the Riddler was able to detonate those bombs and like commit a horrible terrorist act, and the new mayor still got shot. She didn't die, but
right.
it was,
yeah, we don't
close.
see the resolution being the Riddler is stopped and all his plots foiled. Right, the Riddler achieved everything he set out to achieve. Everything.
Yep. Everything except murdering Bruce Wayne. That's all he.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Wayne wasn't there, and if he would have killed Alfred, to be honest, it's just the same as killing Batman. It really is. Like, you probably would have gone in a much darker direction.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Alfred's a badass, and he fucking yeeted that bomb out. I was like, oh fuck.
And we saw Batman stick to his morals: no guns, no killing.
That's your thing, man. Again, the chemistry between Patterson and the guy who played Jim Gordon. I'm so sorry, I don't know his name.
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. It was phenomenal. It was so good.
Yep.
And yep.
There was some religious imagery too, like at the end when he's like leading them out with the flare and stuff like that. Like,
well, I think it's him turning into a symbol of hope. That's at least what it spoke to me.
Yeah.
Also, another scene we forgot to talk about where he base jumps off the top of the police department and fucks up the landing super bad. He just fucking knocks himself on the ground.
Oh yeah. He has like a suit, and then he's flying, and then he goes under the bridge and lets out the parachute and it catches. Yeah.
He flips him into the fucking ground. He's limping around. I was like, oh shit, the police are chasing me. He literally limps away.
So he was about to fuck up the police too.
Yeah.
And Jim was like, I got this.
Yeah. I love that chase scene. There's so many cops flooding through the fucking hallways, and when they arrest Falcone, Jim has the last of the good cops in the city, which I thought was kind of a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me,
Jim Gordon up for him to become the commissioner, right?
Yeah, and Jim Gordon is as much of an icon as Batman is. To me, that's why I've always thought about that too. Like, he represents the order side of Law and Order, or I don't know. It's something like that.
I mean, and the best thing about the movie too, like, in my opinion, is it stays focused on what it wants to achieve. It doesn't get distracted by all the important comic book cameos they can try to throw in. Like, we're not getting privy to Gordon's family and his daughter because she's gonna be Batgirl one day, right? Like, we don't have to do all of that.
Oh, man, are they gonna do a live action Killing Joke?
They're doing a live action Batgirl series on HBO Max.
Is it set in the same universe as this one?
No, it has Michael Keaton's Batman in it.
Okay.
But the actress, I think, is mixed, so it could. It could. But I think the Commissioner Gordon in there is white. It's J.K. Simmons. I want pictures of Spider-Man. That guy.
Oh, I now know is the guy who voices the dad in Invincible. I'm not sure if you watched that series on Amazon.
I haven't, but I do have some Invincible comics. I never read them. I just bought them because they were in polybags, so they look collectible. And Robert Kirkman's a great writer, so I bought them just in case they're worth money.
I almost want to go out and buy the comics, but at the same time, I don't. I know they would just sit on my shelf or get folded and shit.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman also had a very good run on the New Avengers. If anybody's interested in reading that. It might have something to do with the Doctor Strange movie coming out in May. Who knows?
Yeah,
because people think there's going to be Illuminati.
I still need to see the new Spider-Man. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Just go on Tuesday. Yo, it's $5.
I had to see Batman, and now I want to see Batman again. It's a struggle.
You should see it. You should see it.
I really am hoping it's going to be on Disney Plus anytime soon, but it's just not
It's on
posting.
It's on digital already. You can buy it on digital. It
Well,
won't be on Disney Plus.
Maybe I'll go down to Redbox. Maybe they have it there. Ooh.
No, it's not on DVD or Blu-ray yet.
No. Maybe it's on. Is it on YouTube? Let me check.
Is it on YouTube?
Well, no, I'm
Maybe.
saying is because YouTube has a lot of good movies for rent, like new movies
for like $20, or you can rent
no,
it.
it's like $2.99. Like $2.99 is great.
Oh, I don't think you can rent it for $2.99, can you?
No, it's got a pre-order right now though. When's it come out?
Did you see the Kenobi trailer?
I did. I think we should talk about that probably with the news because there's probably a lot we can unpack there. They showed one of the locales from Jedi Fallen Order, so I am just super stoked that we're going to see Cal Kestis because I think they recognize that he's probably one of the most well-written male characters we've gotten in quite a long time.
But can't we just focus on the important things?
Like Ben Kenobi. But technically all he did was sit there, like literally that the entire show would just be him sitting there with the binoculars staring at Luke.
It would make sense for Cal to be in the series only because it doesn't seem like the series is necessarily focusing on Obi-Wan Kenobi, but more focusing on the Empire's mission to hunt down the remaining Jedi. Yeah. And it seems like they're gonna do it by any means necessary. Like they're gonna just like go to public squares and murder people with the Inquisitors until the Jedis come out of hiding because they can't just allow innocent people to die and whatnot.
It's like an itch, you have to abuse it. That's what he said, and I thought that was brutal. I know a lot of people are like bitching, moaning that like the first Inquisitor isn't like he doesn't look exactly the same, but
who cares?
Yeah, they're not gonna, it's not 1-to-1. Like the jump from animation to real life is very, very hard. You can't just make that.
I think there are valid criticisms, but at the same time, it's like, whatever. Like it does suck when like things don't look the way we want them to. Like I think a lot of people also complain about Cad Bane's appearance.
Yeah.
Because his hat wasn't as big as they wanted, and his teeth were not as nice as they want, or something. It's like, I mean, his skin wasn't as blue as they want. It's like whatever. He's an older man now. Like things change, and. Well, I'm just happy
we got him in the series.
Yeah, and he was great. Like,
he
sounded good. Like, looked.
He sounded like Cad Bane. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. Like, people have valid criticisms, but at the same time, it's like, try not to get as invested in the way the Inquisitors look, and just be more invested in if it's a decent movie, right? Or not movie, but series. Because we certainly hope it will be. Jesus, my wife is so far away.
I'm watching a scene of Cad Bane now, and he just looks more intimidating in this one than he does like in the cartoons. The sharp teeth are what's what really gets me, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the teeth were a little odd, but I think they work.
They do.
But yeah.
All right, I think it's time for us both to go get Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's time to get some nacho fries and whatnots.
And chalupas, flatbread tacos that are just folded.
I'm not getting a chalupa.
I want a chalupa.
I'll get some chicken chipotle melts. Maybe I'll get a quesadilla. I haven't had a quesadilla in a while.
I always get the chicken quesadilla when I go.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I like the chipotle sauce better than the jalapeno sauce. So usually I get the chicken chipotle melts, but maybe I'll get like some nacho fries, some melts, and a quesadilla, and a Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a Pepsi. I don't know what that Mountain Dew, but Pepsi.
Yep.
Anyway, my friend, it was fun.
Yes, sir. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everybody who joined in. Thanks for the chattings and whatnot. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Much love and all that.
Get me off the internet.